Welcome to the Copper State Marching Podcast, sponsored by the Arizona Marching Band Association, AzMBA. My name is Martin Hebda, the AzMBA Director of Education and Outreach.
And I'm Matt Kozak, the president of AzMBA. The AzMBA Copper State podcast was created to bring together the Arizona marching band community and to connect, educate, and entertain those involved in this wonderful activity.
Matt, it's good to see you. Just saw you briefly on Saturday. We just finished up our color guard season, and now we're ramping up for our percussion championships. It's hard to believe that winter season's almost over already.
I know it seems like it just started, but that's how these seasons go. They just ramp up and then all of a sudden it's over with.
And you have two kids that are performing this year in your ensemble, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. As you know, I mean, you've had Jason being involved with those activities for the while, but yeah, just having your own kids out on the floor and being able to watch them do their thing is really really special. So having one in the guard and one in the percussion has been, a lot of trying to balance watching and making sure that their schedules don't overlap and stuff, but really really cool at the same time.
It is cool turning into dad mode during those, and then just friend of the family. It's been really cool watching Audrey grow over the last 4 years. Watching her final performance was cool, and just seeing Owen just take off with the drums this year has been awesome to see.
Yeah, it's like I've been impressed with his like development and just kind of like starting to really love it. I'm sure you remember like going back to when, Jason was falling in love with the activity and then all of a sudden like, your son's sending you videos of really cool stuff and like, he's following groups on Instagram and like I'll be on Instagram looking at videos and I'll see that he already liked it. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, just kind of a neat thing seeing your kid falling in love with the activity.
Well, yeah, there's nothing that I can show him he hasn't already seen. I've learned that a
Right.
long time ago. I'm like, hey, check this out. I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I'm starting to run in that too. I was the one who showed him all the stuff for a while as he was going through junior high and starting high school, but now it's like, I'll do the same thing. I'll show him something. He's like, yeah, I'm the one who sent that to you. I was like, oh, okay.
It makes it full circle. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Uh, awesome. So this will be a good podcast for us. We're going to be talking about the 2026 AZMBA schedule. Before we get started with that, let's do a quick shout out to all of our sponsors. AZMBA would like to thank our sponsors: Arizona Cardinals Football Club, The Band Shop, Bravgo Media, Encore Gifts, Forte Athletics, Instrumental Music Center, Mac Pack, Milano's Music, Music Celebrations International, Music for All, Pieces of Flair, Scoreboard Fundraising, Show Dots, Tide Dry Cleaners, and Yamaha. Thank you for supporting AZMBA. And before we get into our show schedule for 2026, a couple events that we have coming up this coming year that are always something to be excited about. We have a upcoming symposium in August, on August 22nd. That's Elevate. Matt, what are you looking forward to most with that?
Well, Elevate is just a great way it's titled that way for a reason. It's designed to elevate your programs. You come in, you get a chance to talk to some of the best when it comes to design and education and the marching arts. This year, we're trying to do a little bit more. We're trying to get into, a little bit more different tracks and such. You're getting boosters involved, getting new directors, especially young teachers or young instructors. That was an idea that came to us was like, maybe we can have some extra workshops for them so that they learn the fundamentals of teaching. So for your younger staff members, it might be a good thing to bring them.
Well, yeah, and we're bringing in Matt and Susie Harloff to come in and work with everybody.
Yeah.
So I know that the entire state's looking forward to that. Kind of something new that we have going this year with this event. We're gonna have lunch provided, an opportunity for people to get together and socialize. I know I look forward to those events because I'm kind of far away from all the other directors. So I really like to use that time to make connections.
Yeah. Well, Casa Grande, you're down there in the boonies a little bit, so it's good to get out of your
It's only
your
30
uh
minutes
your town.
away. It's only
I
30 minutes away,
know.
but
I
it
know.
seems longer.
I know, right? Yeah. But yeah, no, it's gonna be really, really fun. So definitely mark your calendars, August 22nd. There'll be more information coming up later, but we want to make sure everybody can be there that can be there. Bring your students, bring your booster parents. Definitely look forward to that. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, a second year, we're having the All-Star Marching Band.
Oh yeah, that was. Man, I would say one of the coolest things. I don't know about you, Martin, because you were there with me, but um, it was one of the coolest things. Just like getting all of these kids together. It was probably, I think it ended up being about 175, 180 kids together for a couple of days, just rehearsing through some music. And all these kids just love band, you know? There was no big application or audition or anything to be a part of it. They just needed to have a direct recommendation and fill out a form, and then we, were able to get them involved in this great event. So we're going to be bringing that back again this year. So how did as far as like an onlooker goes, like what did you think about that whole thing?
Well, I thought it was great. I just liked watching the students be themselves, have a good time. And really, I mean, there was some rehearsing, but it wasn't a ton. And they had their music sounding good right away. Top-notch staff working with them. I saw a lot of smiles. The weather couldn't have been better, you know. And
Yeah.
then the crowd, as we were marching by, they seemed to really get into the music. So it was just a pretty much a good time all around, I thought. I thought it was a great experience.
Yeah, I loved we were marching down the street and there was a big easy up that was set up and there was a giant family that was inside this easy up and they must have been barbecuing or something because they had been there for a bit and they were just going nuts for a kid and I couldn't figure out which one it was. It was in the middle of the band, but they were just cheering, cheering, cheering. And I was trying to find the kid. Like I looked in the band and I was like trying to find the one that was smiling, right? And I couldn't figure it out. But that was one of my favorite moments was just like seeing this family, so proud of their kid, marching the festival parade. And that's what it's all about, right? So if you have students, if you are a student, make sure you put your name in this year. We want to grow and make it bigger and better. If you're a director, nominate those students, make sure you pass the word along because it's going to be a lot of fun.
You spread the information, all these cool things to all of your students.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what do you say we get into the schedule?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, so we're really excited about the schedule this year. Where do you want to start? You want to just kind of go down
Yeah,
the list here?
well, let's start at the beginning. I mean, we're starting with the Eval Plus show, which I went for the first time. We actually hosted last year, and I walked away enjoying that a lot more than I thought I would. I actually really enjoyed that event and that concept.
Yeah, the Eval Plus show has been so cool. A couple years ago, we had it was scored, and it just kind of felt like it kind of felt like another show, right? But it was in middle of September, which means you only have, a couple minutes of your show on the field at the most. And so I think we decided, last year we're just like, let's get rid of scores and let's make it really more just about an educational like show that you can show up, do whatever you have of your show. There's no penalties, there's no scores, there's really no timeline. I mean, we try to keep everybody on track with the timing, but it's more about just like you get a rep of the show, your kids get a chance to get some feedback in an on-field clinic. You and your staff sit up in the stadium with designers and judges and kind of talk through the show as you're doing it because they're not judging. So you're able to just kind of sit there and chat with them during the show and then get another rep at it again. It is, I will say, like, it is a little bit warm, obviously, middle of September. So please be careful about like wearing uniforms. If you don't want to wear uniforms, don't wear uniforms. It's definitely good to get out early and get that feedback.
Well, and it was cool last year. You had all different kinds of bands that went. There were several bands where it was the first year band director. They just got out of college and this is their first ever time going to a competition and they have all kinds of questions. And I thought that was a great setting for that. And then we had bands who were like, hey, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to get feedback, talk to judges before I go to BOA the next week. So I thought that it really kind of checked the boxes for a lot of people. One thing that I think was good about our site is we have covered parking, which is where we do the warm ups for everybody everybody so being as hot as it was. And typically, it seems like the last few years, whether it's a winter show or a fall show, the show dates that my school gets were blistering hot. So having those covered parking was kind of nice for the warm-ups.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think your site is great. It's your site is kind of the southern. We're calling it the Southern Eval Plus for those bands in Tucson or the Southern Arizona that want to come up and do the eval experience. We have another location this year. This is kind of exciting too. The Central Eval show is going to be at ALA Ironwood, and we've never had an ALA show before. Like ALA has never hosted any of the ALAs, like ALA Gilbert or ALA Queen Creek or whatever. So I thought it was really cool that ALA Ironwood, put in a bid, and we're like, first time show hosts, and so we're like, yeah, let's do the eval there. That'd be fun, and kind of get something a little bit new and branch out to a different school. So
Well, yeah, and that school is really involved in the winter
yeah.
scene, involved in the fall scene. So that's going to be good.
Isn't there a drum instructor? The drum instructor is David Hales, who is DJ Rockwilder, who DJ'd the All-Star band, and he does all the Dimebacks and all those games and everything too. So definitely a great setup there, and I know they're going to do a good job with that.
Yeah, and that's September 19th, that date.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to September 26th, the next weekend.
Yeah, September 26th, we have a show down in Tucson at Mountain View High School. And then we have a show up in the Valley at Westview High School. And this, again, is another new host. Westview has not hosted a show, but they put in a bid, and we were looking at their bid, and they have this like giant press box and just a really nice stadium. And we're like, oh my gosh, like that would be a great place to have a show. It's really well, really spread out, lots of space. So I think that's gonna be a great site.
Yeah, that'll be good. And then Mountain View's hosted for a few years now too, I believe.
Yeah, Mountain View's had a show just about every year. It's just I mean, you've been to Mountain View. It's a beautiful layout. I actually did a fall our winter show there this last couple weeks ago, and it was so nice. It was right on a golf course too. So if you got some downtime, bring your clubs and maybe hit some things off the.
You're talking to the parents now, right?
Yeah, I know, right? Bring your clubs. There's a range. The driving range is literally right next to the school. We were loading and we're like, okay, if anybody shanks it as bad as I shank it, we're in trouble.
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
And then the next week we get into October finally, and that doesn't mean it's cooler, but it is a little bit later in the year. We have three shows on October 3rd.
Yeah, there's three shows the third. It's one of our three show weekends. We have Flowing Wells in Tucson, and then we have MCC and kind of the East Valley, and then Yonker for West Valley. And this is also the weekend of I&E, which is one of the staples for AzMBA. Like we've really enjoyed doing the I&E thing. What's your experience with I&E and how it's worked with you? I know you do a lot of like you do like a little video and stuff, right? To promote it
I
and get your
do.
kids involved. Yeah.
I do, yeah. I show a video to the class of just a little bit of past I&Es that our students have done, and just kind of talking to them about it, and then let my students talk that have done it before. I want to say I have usually between 30 and 45 students that go and participate. And the best part about the I&E for me is not necessarily, ooh, you're going to do I&E. It's their second year doing I&E and seeing the growth from year one to year two. And it's starting to blow up. There's a lot of students that are doing it. And you've got, 15, 20 solos for brass happening. The students get to go and watch and see other people perform. And my students really enjoyed that. We did it at MCC last year, which is where the INE was, and I just thought it was great. They had, being on a college campus. So yeah, I highly promote that to my students.
Yeah, and we had I got a chance to go meet out with John Davenport at MCC and walk through his campus. And one of the things that last year he couldn't do was their theater was being used for a musical, so they couldn't use their theater. But this year they have a reserved. So that's where the guard INE is going to be this year, which will be a
Yeah.
lot better than last year. Last year was outside, which they made it work, and everything they had a big space and sound system and all that stuff. But I think it's going to be really cool, like on stage. So that whole music building is just going to be all the INE. By the way, we didn't say INE stands for individual and ensemble for anybody that's listening. And if you go on like YouTube and you look at INE, and you look at like DCI INE, it's just an opportunity for kids to perform solos and ensembles. And one of the things I love is that there's not as many rules. Um, like you can just show up and play whatever you want. One of my students arranged their own tune. Actually, two groups arranged their own tune. I had a student that arranged like a brass quintet, and then another one arranged kind of like a rock band type thing. Even they had some drum set and bass and all these things. So it was kind of a cool thing, just for them to be like creative. And you show up and the judges don't go like, "Oh, well, this is not appropriate. We're going to score you down." They're like, "What are you doing well?" And then they give them feedback and they're like, "You arranged this?" And then they talk to them about their arranging and stuff. So I thought that was really cool.
That is cool, especially when you see Wins doing that. Percussion and guard choreograph their own shows and write their own music for that. And you see ensembles, you see duets, you see all kinds of different things happening there. I know that several years when I've gone down, there's been band programs that weren't able to compete at a show because maybe it was their homecoming or something like that, but they still sent a truckload of students to perform as well. Because it's earlier in the day, they're able to do their performance and then they can go do their homecoming things as well. So directors, as you're looking at, okay, what shows do I want to do? If you have, an event that makes you not able to do the actual full competition, you can send students to the INE.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, because I think a lot of people don't realize that. Like, a lot of people don't realize that they cannot do the show part and they can still do I&E. And even we've even if they don't do any AzMBA shows and they want to do I&E. We had a junior high group come out and do an I&E too. So yeah, it's just open to anyone. And I know one of the feedback pieces from last year was the award ceremony was too long. and we talked about that in our advisory committee meetings, and we have a plan in place to shorten that award ceremony because, like you said, Martin, it's blowing up. I mean, there's dozens and dozens of kids doing it. And when we did the awards, it took forever to read through all of the names, which we want to read and recognize all of their names. They put all this work into it, but we also don't want people to be like, okay, let's move on. So we're working to make that process a lot faster this upcoming year.
Yeah, and that'll be good. And then at that INE, the judges kind of confer and talk to each other, and that's where they select who's going to be performing as a showcase at championships. So that's if you're ever wondering, wow, why are there people playing at championships? That those are performers from the INEs.
Yeah, they decide which ones are the best ones. Now, we didn't talk at all about Yunker. Yunker's site is beautiful. They've hosted WGI regionals before, and they have a huge campus, like a huge campus, lots of space in the shade for warming up and such. So I think that's gonna be a really cool show on the West Valley. So if you're in the West Valley, get yourself out to Yunker. It's gonna be great.
And this a couple of weeks ago was the first time that I went out there for the WGI show, and they did a great job hosting. Really, really
Mhm.
good job.
Yeah, and I always love the hospitality. So they do a good job feeding the directors. So directors, they always run a good hospitality tent there too.
All right, so then we move on to October 10th, the next week, and we have two shows this week.
Yeah, we have Perry High School is going to be hosting a show this year, and then Canyon View out in the West Valley is going to be doing a flipped show. And what a flipped show is where the big bands go on first, and then the small bands go on last. So we go, 5A performs first, 4A, then 3A, then 2A, then 1A. And it's just such a cool opportunity for those small bands to get a chance to perform under the lights. And I would encourage, like, whether you're a big band or a small band, those are fun shows to go to. Like I've taken my band out to flip shows, and it's great for big bands too to be able to sit in the stands and support these small bands that are always supporting the big bands. I mean, they're always in the stands watching and cheering. Now it's our turn, to give back to support the little band. So I think it's a great thing. If you've never been to a flip show, check it out.
My students love it. They don't often get to see other groups perform, so getting a chance to see other groups perform, but also an opportunity to change out of your uniform at a show.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
they want to see the souvenirs, and they all like to hit the different food that's around and just be there and be with their friends, part of the event. So that, yeah, my students really, really like those.
Yeah, for sure. Now the Perry show on the East Side, Perry runs a wonderful show. Ben is like the most organized dude in the world. And so I think, Perry's going to have a great show in the East Valley on that date. We didn't put a show in Tucson, and people might be like, "Well, why isn't there a show in Tucson on the 10th?" We looked at all of the Tucson calendars, and Reed Bailey did a great job of just kind of collecting like the Flowing Wells district and the TUSD and the Sarita district, and kind of plotted out where their fall break is. And everybody's fall break lands on the 10th. And so we thought, in the past we've tried to do a show on that weekend, and it's just difficult for directors to sometimes do that. So we just thought, okay, let's take a break on the 10th and let all the Tucson bands breathe for a week, and then they can get back at it.
Yeah, that's a good call. And that brings us to October 17th, where now Tucson has their flip show.
Yeah, Walden Grove is going to be doing a flip show down there in the Sarita area. So again, flip show, great opportunity to be there. Basha is going to host a show on that date here in the East Valley in Chandler, and then Sunrise Mountain in the West Valley. So again, we try to especially on these three show weekends, we'll do one in Tucson, one in the East Valley, one in the West Valley, so that everybody has an opportunity. And as you know, Martin, like bus prices and all that are just increasing, increasing, increasing. So I think that having a little bit of closeness when it comes to show sites is beneficial.
Yeah, and I think you have great coverage of the state with those shows. I think that was
Yeah,
good plan in there. And then we
yeah,
get to October 24th, and we start with our regional championships. We have two of them this weekend.
yeah. Did you go last year to
I sure
the
did.
region champ? Yeah,
Yep.
that was one of the coolest additions. I thought we started that this last year. What did you think about the region champs?
Well, my students thought it was fantastic. We were at Ironwood Ridge last year, and it's going to be at Ironwood Ridge again, and they host a great show. We happened to have a great run, and we scored real well, and having the banners and just another opportunity for students. It's a regional championship. It's like a mid-year hype. It's like when the NBA says, all right, what can we do? Let's put a tournament in the middle of the year. It's just like it's one of those
Yeah.
things. So yeah, I think it was cool. I had a lot more parents probably that came that usually come because it was a regional championship. I've even seen schools that they make banners like, all right, we are the Southern Region champion, so it's a big hype, a good way for bands to get recognized around their school or their community.
Yeah, for sure. And that was the goal really, was like when we were talking about the regional champs, we have to take a page from the athletics every now and then and just kind of look around us and see what other people are doing. And I know that in our gym, I was like kind of looking around our gym, and there's like region champion banners, and you go to other gyms and you see like East Region champion. And I'm like, oh man, that's cool. Like, why don't we do that? Why don't we like celebrate the students a little bit more in their area? Because, we go to the class championships and there's one champion in each division. But there's a lot of really good bands out there. So this is a really cool opportunity. Like you can, let's say you're in a different region, you're in the southern region or the central region, the northern region. You can go back to your school and say, we just finished in whatever place, third place in our region. And then your principal's like, wow, awesome. Right. And it just brings a little bit more hype to your community, to your programs. We want the kids to feel celebrated, and all that. This band is so hard. So it's like we should be rewarding as much as possible.
Yeah. And those two sites, we have Hamilton for the central region and Ironwood Ridge for the southern region. So we have two of the three regions represented on October 24th.
Yeah.
And that brings us to October 31st.
October, the spooky season.
Spooky day.
That's right. Like, and it was funny. I was the other day, I was looking through our Instagram, and one of one of the posts that we put about like the show reveal and everything. There was a student that posted it to their story, and they're like, "Oh God, I hope there's no show on October 31st." But here's what I want to say. I want to say like it is going to be the coolest show that you'll ever go to on October 31st. U of A Band Day is going to be, as always, U of A Band Day is amazing. But, in our conversations with them, they're going to be having, trick or treating and you can wear costumes. And there's going to be all these like special Halloween aspects to their show that are not normal. So I think like sometimes we just kind of have to look at it and go, how cool could that be if we make it cool? We could either avoid it, we could, say, it's Halloween, let's not do it, or we can make it special. And that's what we're choosing to do is we're gonna have a show that night at U of A and then the Northern Region Championships as well. So don't shy away from going out on Halloween. I don't know about your band, Martin, but I think our band's gonna love it. They're gonna have a good time.
Oh yeah, they'll do that. I know we traveled to Ayala once in California for a Halloween show.
Yeah.
You know,
How
and band boosters make sure everything is exciting for the students as well. I mean, they had candy for the kids and did all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And really, I mean, what makes Halloween special, right? Like for teenagers,
The
is
friends.
being with their friends. Exactly, being with their
Yeah.
friends. So, I mean, now you're going to be with all of your friends at a show together that's specially made for that event, So I think if you look at like the kids don't go, around their neighborhood and trick or treat or wear costumes and stuff for their own sake. It's because they want to do it with their friends. They have a good time. So we're just going to double down on it, make it really fun.
Give him a lot of candy. And Chad Schumann always has good stuff up his sleeve, and he's got a good team there to help lead the events. So
Yeah, and U of A Band Day, I mean, just even on the years when it's not Halloween is so cool. Walking through that tunnel onto the big field. Last year we had live interviews for the first time, which was really cool. So band directors, make sure that you send a student to the tent after your performance for the live interview. You get a chance, we'll have someone down on the track talking to the kid, and there is a slight delay, like a half second delay, but it immediately shows up on the Jumbotron, their interview with this kid, and it just kind of makes everybody feel like rock stars. And so when you have that ability at U of A to do some of these really cool things with the technology and the Jumbotron and all that, why not take advantage of it?
and the state it's just such a grand stadium. Any college stadium that you go to, it's just so big and they go through the tunnel and they actually have people that are in the tunnel. They just like watching the freshman eyes when they go in, they just see the
Yeah.
audience in the stadium and just the size of it. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Our kids love it.
All right, so now finally into November, so it's going to start cooling off a little bit. It'll only be 90 degrees, and we've got two shows in November.
Yeah, we got one in Buckeye out in the West Valley. They always run a great show. They've hosted championships a few times, so their boosters know what's going on, and they have a good show. Last year, their show had a little bit of rain, so we're gonna hope that this year it's not so rainy. It was so interesting last year. The radar, there was like a big storm that would roll through, and then like about a half an hour later, there was another storm that was rolling through. And so we were just like scrambling to be like, okay, we can get a band in this break and try to get the show in. But hopefully that won't happen again. But the Buckeye parents, to be able to handle that type of event where there's weather and all of that, the way that they did, yeah, it just speaks volumes to their ability to host a great show. So yeah, Buckeye's going to be doing the West Valley, and then down in Tucson, Sarita, great program down there, hosting the show on the 7th in between all the champs and class championships.
And they've been hosting for many years, so they have their system down as well.
Yeah, yeah. Sarita's a great site. I'm really excited for that show for all the Tucson bands. The week before championships, get one more score in for your seating score and everything. So it's definitely a great opportunity.
Yeah. And then November 14th, AzMBA Championships. We have three different sites.
Yeah, this was a tough like when the committee was looking at the sites and like where we're going to have it. we have a new site for 3A, 5A, which is going to be Millennium High School out in the West Valley. And you and we've been there this last week, and next week we're going to be heading out there and kind of checking out their facilities. Millennium just had a massive renovation done to their campus, and their stadium is top notch. They have the turf field. They have a huge warm up field. Their bus and truck parking is massive on site, so like you don't have to send your buses or trucks anywhere. And then they have like what, three gyms or like two gyms and then a huge band room. So there's kind of a good rain contingency plan. So we just thought like Millennium is going to be a great site for 3-5 this year.
Well, and they host so many things. Just thinking about what they do for WGAZ, the sheer volume of people. They have Friday, Saturday color guard, and then they have a Friday, or maybe it's just a Saturday drum line. Usually it's continuous weekends. I mean, I talk to Brent every time we're there, and he just has so much energy, ready to go. It's like anything you need, I'm on it, and his parents, they have everything down. So it's going to be great. It's going to be a great site. We have Campo Verde, who's I probably hosted almost every championships, at least, well, maybe not that first year, but almost every year we've had a show at Campo Verde as well.
Yeah, we didn't host the first year, but after that, we've been hosting, and I just I gotta shout out our boosters. Our boosters do such a good job. Like I don't do a lot, and I don't know if you feel that way, but like once you get to the point where your boosters are just kind of rinse, repeat, they train up the next person, and they're the committee lead, and then they make sure that all the areas are covered and all the maps are covered and everything. So. I know our boosters really try to make it just like an amazing culminating event. And so much so that like, we've done a bus driver like lounge for the drivers where they can come in and sit on couches and watch TVs and stuff because they're there all day. And our director's hospitality on the field. One year it was going to be pretty chilly, so we brought in like little space heaters and stuff. So we just want to try to make it just like the best experience. So shout out to the CV boosters; they do such a great job with that.
Well, they really do. And then you also have like alumni boosters come back, meaning like they don't have kids in the program currently, but they still come back and help out. I couldn't echo your what you said about boosters enough. My boosters, we just had a show a couple of weeks ago. I guess it was 2 weeks ago, and the parents, they just run with it, and the planning and the amount of pride that they take into making sure it's a great show. And they just do what needs to be done, and then they take care of it. They're just unbelievable. So band booster parents, the booster boards, they're incredible. They really.
Yeah, absolutely. The third site for 1A is up at Pinnacle High School, and they hosted 1A championships this last year. And I think this was their first time hosting championships, and they just did a really great job with it. I mean, it's a huge event because 1A is typically split into two different divisions. There's 1A red, 1A black, and so it's a long day. They go all day long. So yeah, Pinnacle is just a really nice campus right on the edge of town, up in I guess it's like Scottsdale, Paradise Valley area. Really, really pretty backdrops for things. The campus is just really nice. So yeah, I think Pinnacle is going to be a great site again for 1A.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a great season. We got a lot of great shows, a lot of great locations. Real quick, right now, what we're going to do is we're going to post a picture for those that are watching the video, so you can see all of the shows that we have.
Yeah, that lineup looks really, really good. I'm super excited for the season. So, before we wrap up, though, I just want to pick your brain a little bit, and we can kind of, go back and forth on this. How do you, if for the directors that are listening out there, how do you select your shows? Like, what goes into the show selection process for you?
Yeah, and the first thing that leads anything is just what are the dates? What are the dates that I have available? So before anything gets posted, I go and I get a calendar together. When are my football games? When is homecoming? When are open show dates? So I just put on the Saturdays open date, open date, open date. So I know what dates we might be going to. Things that I like to think about is I want to make sure that I don't have like six shows in a row. That's really,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
tough on the kids. One thing that I do at my school is I always try to give them to where they have homecoming night off so they can hit the dance and do all of that because that's it's being a kid. That's something that you want to do. So that's something that we always try to make happen. And then I think about, okay, well, where are some of the sites that I like? I think about, okay, well, where are some places new? Like as a student, you want to hit some different schools. You don't want to necessarily go to the same school all the time. Obviously, the first thing that I pencil in there is AzMBA championships and U of A band day because that is I think I've been to U of A every year since '93. I mean, I think that's
Hmm.
always been a place that I've wanted to make sure that my band gets to experience. And as of last year, the next thing that I make sure I put on right away is the regional championships. I want to make sure that my students get a chance to go there as well. I look for an I&E. I want to make sure that my students are able to have that opportunity, and whether or not the full band will go, or if the students get an opportunity to go do that the I&E at the beginning of the day. And then I try to get a flip show in. It's hard sometimes to get that flip show in, but I really try to get one of those in. And then things just kind of fall into place. There's not really a lot of options when I take a look at it that way. How about you? What
Yeah.
are some of the things you do?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the same things. Clearly, we're of the same mindset when it comes to picking stuff. Because even just looking at the schedule right now, like I'm obviously penciling in championships, and then U of A Band A. Our students love going out in Tucson. It's such a fun day trip, and especially on years if we don't travel, it's still kind of cool to get down, an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and kind of give them that day trip, right? So going on to U of A, Central Region Championships, like you're saying. And what that did with my schedule is we're actually going out of state November 7th. We're going to go up to the BOA that's in Utah this upcoming year, which is going to be a really cool experience for the kids because we've never been to Utah before, and it'll be a big BOA show. So what that did with our schedule is it's like, okay, well, we've got November 14th, November 7th, October 31st, October 24th. I'm like, I cannot do October 17th. I don't want to do that to our families. I don't want to do that to myself. And I just want to make sure that there's time off. So normally at the end of our fall break, which is that October 17th, we would do a show. But this year we're like, okay, we're not going to do a show that weekend just so that the kids aren't doing 5 weeks in a row. And then after that, let's look at some of the other things. Like you said, homecoming. Like I think when I was younger, I don't know if you were this way or maybe it was just me being a young, irresponsible director, but like I would, say, oh, homecoming, whatever, it's band. We got to be in band. We got to go to band. It doesn't matter. It's competition. Don't go to homecoming. And then you had kids, and then you saw your own children want to go, and they're like, oh man, can't wait to dress up and go take pictures in the park with my friends and all this stuff. And I'm like, what did I do all those years? Like that was horrible. So now I'm like, okay, yeah, homecoming. Like let them go to homecoming. Try to work it out so that you can. Now, if homecoming had been on Central Region Championships, then I'd be like, guys, we
Agreed.
gotta, we gotta make that choice here. And, you just kind of talk to them. And we've done things in the past where we're like, okay, let's do like we actually call it Bohm coming, like band homecoming, like Bohm coming. And we had a dance the week before on a Saturday night just for our band kids so they could dress up and have a homecoming event. And they loved it. So it's, if you end up having to, go to a show on homecoming, try to be creative and give those kids that experience that they deserve. So, this year homecoming happens to be on Eval, so we probably unfortunately won't be going to Eval. I would love to go to Eval, but it's just again, it's like you pick those battles, right? And you decide what you want to do. But yeah, we're excited to get out to I think we're going to go to Westview, which is a new site. Our kids never been there. And then MCC, big stadium, big concrete stadium. John's going to do a great job there, I&E as well. So yeah, that's kind of the process is just narrowing it down to, what's going to work for our program.
Wow, September, that's an early homecoming.
Yeah, yeah, September like 17th or something. It's a little weird to do that early, but I mean, let's get it out of the way. It's cool.
Yeah, I actually tried. I've always tried to avoid homecoming. However, we've had a stint of years where they say this is when homecoming is, and then they switch it after we've already registered and done things.
Right. Oh
So
my
it
gosh.
didn't always work that way. But yeah, we try to avoid that this year. I love the MCC show, but that's the date of our homecoming. So what we'll do is we'll probably send a bunch of students to do the I&E, and then we won't go. I think that's what you did last year. Is you did.
Yeah, that was us last year. Yeah, we did the I&E part and then the kids went to the dance. And actually, the kids that didn't go to the dance, I was like, hey, come on back for awards. So some of them came back and went to the
Yeah.
awards ceremony and accepted the awards for their friends. But the other ones that, they want to go be a kid, go be a kid. Have fun.
And it's important. I think they should do that. Those are experiences that they should have. So, well,
Yeah.
awesome. Matt, thanks for coming in and chatting. It's been a little bit of time here, and I think it was good. And hopefully, everybody enjoyed the layout that we have for the season.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Thanks for having me on. And I look forward to the season.
We appreciate all of our listeners to the podcast. We have a way for you to connect with us. We have an email address. You can reach out to us at podcast@azmba.org.
Yeah, for this week, especially with the Halloween show coming up, if you have any ideas for our students and for our families at both the Northern Region Champions or U of A Band A that you'd like to see come to fruition at Halloween, feel free to shoot us an email at podcast at azmba.org. Send us your thoughts, send us your ideas. What would be fun for you and your families?
Look forward to seeing what you guys have to say. All right. Thank you.